Ed Nathanson, Senior Director, Global Talent Acquisition, Rapid7. Rapid7 is a software security company based out of Boston with offices in both Austin and LA and Toronto as well as some overseas sales offices. We are an explosively fast-growing company in a white-hot space with a really quirky, awesome culture that I'm so excited to be a brand ambassador of and have really started to push that out from not just from a product perspective, from an employment brand perspective, and really get around that. It's the coolest place I've ever been, for sure. Having been in large companies and smaller companies, and seeing a lot of what other people are doing, it always struck me as is you cannot be anything and everything to everybody. And you have to embrace who you are in all its hideousness or all its glory, and take that and run with it and be different and stand out. And so when I see a lot of different organizations that try to have that vanilla, oh, everybody come in approach, that just doesn't fly for me. So what we are is an incredibly quirky, hipster, geeky, proudly geeky culture. If you saw my office, you'd see a lot of Superman stuff. So when thinking about the brand, what I really thought is I'm intending to, when we put this stuff out there, that I know there's a segment of the people that are gonna look at that and say, what the heck is this? Well, you know what? You're gonna hate us. And I'd rather know that up front. So tap out, and as we like to say even on our website, we say if you come to our first career landing page, first thing you say is, we are not for everybody, with a group of our guys shooting Nerf guns at the camera. But if you think it's cool or quirky or funny, come on in. You're gonna love us. And that's what we want to attract. It's that shared passion, that shared ideology, that shared belief system that really inspires people. I have an interesting background coming into this. I was running recruiting at a very large software company, almost $1 billion a year business, and had every tool under the sun, and had data, almost 3 years of data of where our hires were coming from. It was incredibly obvious to me that I was wasting a lot of money on a lot of different areas, but the one that just kept coming up, whether it was through the direct sourcing method or whether it was from the job postings, was LinkedIn. It was almost 60% of where our hires were coming from. So take that now, that knowledge coming to a much smaller company with not even a quarter of the budget I had there, and having to think about what I wanted to do brand-wise, what tool would allow me to not just find the best people, but put that brand out there synonymously with it. It was a no-brainer. The ability to interact with people on a more human basis, in our kind of language, in our way, and with the passive and active folks on there, and now with all the content stuff on there, it's the first place I go every day because I like to see what's out there and the new content and to see what other people are doing and thinking, and that's what I think is so cool and why it was a no-brainer for me to go all in with it. If what you want to attract is the low-hanging fruit, job boards are the way to go, right? There's no doubt about it. But if you want that person who's gonna be that A-level talent, the person who's gonna bring you up, the person who might not necessarily even know you're out there, and you want the ability to have data at your fingertips and the ability to even have conversations with managers where you can take them through a search that you do on LinkedIn Recruiter and say, okay, you're looking for Superman. Well, I'm looking through here and no one's impervious to kryptonite, right? Or you can say, oh yes, there's 10 of them from the planet Krypton. At the same time, you at least have that data to have that conversation. So it's a much more robust, much more powerful tool, and the fact that LinkedIn isn't a job board is the biggest differentiator. If you want to engage, up the talent in your company, bring the level of what your sophistication of what your team can do from a recruiting perspective, it's an absolute no-brainer. If you're not on there, if you're not having that robust platform behind you beyond the free platform, but on the real deep recruiter platform with all the cool stuff behind the window, and I love to talk about the data that I see beyond just the candidates that are at my fingertips, but how my team is using it, how are they engaging, what's their response rates, all the different facts and figures that you get from it. It's unlike anything that I've ever had in my toolkit before. And so I would argue that if you don't have it, you're at a huge disadvantage to begin with. If you do have it, the field is even. Now what you do with it is the difference.